Okay, broski. Holy shit, hold on.
Okay, welcome to my office. This is a reading for Skylar, and I'm recording my second reading of the day. So this one might actually be longer just because I'm a little bit more tired. But that's okay. That is a-okay. We're gonna just jump into it. A lot has happened. It's been almost a month since this was booked, so I'm already knowing this is probably gonna be long. But I'm trying to think how I want to start this. You just replied, holy shit. Okay, let me look at my email real quick. Um, hold on. I gotta refresh it. Holy shit. Holy shit. Wow. Godmothers. Holy shit. Well, thank you. I'm honored. Fuck. Okay. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about even before we got into that part of the reading. So I'm gonna do the general stuff first, and then I figured there's a couple of things I want to get into. Let's start with the Wildwood Tarot. Um, this is a green deck. I'm feeling green recently. I've been wearing a lot of green when I went to go visit my mom. I didn't like. I packed like shit. I packed like fuck. I didn't even know I was going to my mom's house for sure until like the day of, and I actually got scared and backed out. Um, and then my sister like talked me into it. So then I ended up going because I literally had a panic attack. Like I was having like for like I woke up at like 9 o'clock. We didn't leave until like noon. From like 9 o'clock to like 10:30, 11, I was just like crying. Because I have a lot of PTSD related to being at my mom's house. So I was just like going through it. And the bottom of the deck before I even like shuffle or anything is the Six of Pentacles, which is exploitation. So it just kind of feels like being. Why are you doing that? Kind of feels like just like not knowing what to do or what's coming next, and then like hoping for the best. So I feel like that's the vibe that you could be in energetically right now, where you're just like, well, dude, I don't know, and that makes sense because you literally said I don't know. So let's just see. Um, Angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, please help me to clearly and accurately see what's being shown to me in the cards. Please help me to connect with Skylar's energy and the energy surrounding her current circumstances so I can clearly and accurately let her know and translate to her what's going on. Please help me to give a reading that will impact her in the way that she needs to be impacted so that she can align with her highest timelines and greater manifestations in life and love and all other aspects. Um, Please help me to center myself so that I can be the best reader that I can be. Separate myself, any bias that I might have from the truth of the energy being shown to me. Okay, so what's going on with Skylar in a general sense? What do her guides want her to know about where she's currently positioned in life? By the way, a lot of my decks are like having damage to them. Like I just saw this one, which happens to be the Two of Cups. It has a literal hole in it. Um, I don't even. I kind of know. I kind of don't know why that happened. So, well, because I've been having a boyfriend and like for the first time in like life. Well, not really, but like kind of. And so there's like rules for like how he's allowed to be in my space, and part of that is I have to keep the door kind of open, and it makes me feel juvenile, but I have to do it. And that means my dogs can come in, and usually I keep them out. So I keep my cars and stuff like around, and so there's been like a little bit of damage that's like come to the cards as a result of that. Also, since being in my new relationship, my literal hey Ashley, um, since being in a relationship and being intimate with my person, my literal body has been like changing. Like my timing has been changing. So like my past two periods have been late by 11 days, like exactly both times, which was so strange because I'm usually super regular. Like I can predict usually to the day when I'm gonna start. Because I've always been like a tracker of myself. Like I like to like I use an app and everything. Like I keep track of everything that's going on in my body. Um, so like I've just been off. And yeah. So I mean I don't know if you can relate to that in any kind of way or if that's similar. Getting cheese mate. Oh yeah. Okay. We have like a little like that's kind of cool. I kind of fuck with that. All right. Anyways, yeah, Holy Trinity going on here. So what's going on with Skylar? We have the Guardian, which is the devil in the reverse, and then we have wow, okay, the Hangman, which is the exact next major arcana. So we have 15 and 16 here, but both in the reverse. So I'm picking up on fear energy here, and then the same Two of Cups is coming out again, also in the reverse. Fear. Fear of loss, fear of imbalance, fear of being stuck in a position that you don't want to be in, fear of that not being controllable, fear of repeating karmic cycles, I can even see. King of Swords in the reverse. Overthinking could also be a thing that's going on here. And then the Queen of Wands in the reverse. Because it's like, this feels like maybe a manifestation that you could have or would have called in at some point, but the way, shape, or form that it's coming into your life is now also something that kind of causes you anxiety, which I can relate to, because I'm about to get a little bit TMI. I don't know if this is actually TMI or not, but in my relationship with my new person, every time that my period was late, that kind of like made me anxious because I was like, you know, like, oh my god, am I pregnant? And I actually took like this, the first time I was like, nah, no way. So I just like left it alone, and then my period came eventually. And the second time I was like, well, I might actually be pregnant. So I took a test and it came out negative. But it's just I'm identifying and relating to that feeling of the I don't know what this means for me. And then that really like feeling real, and that's kind of what's being shown to me in the cards and shown to me in the energy is like you kind of with the Queen of Wands, it's like a bunny. It's really sensitive, it's really like alert, it's vigilant because it feels like it's small, it knows it's kind of small, kind of vulnerable, and it needs to be on the eye, like keep an eye out at all times for predators. But I don't know how real that whole fear is, not that it's not real or not logical, but as of right now, Ten of Cups is the bottom of my deck. It kind of feels like you would have wanted this at one point. So this could be a momentary fear. Let me clarify it more. Why is the Devil here and the Hangman here in the reverse? The Otter, Page of Cups. Okay, so otters are usually community animals, and right now this, yeah, with Axel. Right now this otter's alone. And then the Ten of Cups, happiness, is now upright. Then we have the Queen of Cups in the reverse, Salmon. the Six of Cups reunion underneath the Queen of Wands. So when it comes to that person, I feel like you probably will, because now the otter has company. Now it's 2 otters. I don't know if you can see them, but they're right over here in this corner. I'm trying to like position it so you can see the imagery better. There's 1 otter at first, and then there's 2. So when it comes to like, if any of this fear is like abandonment, I don't feel like that lasts long, because I feel like someone might come in and reconnect with you in a way that makes you feel like you're not alone. Two of Cups in the reverse, cleared by the 10 of Cups upright. I want to like let you know that how things are right now is probably not how they're gonna stay, and that could be for a variety of reasons. With you kind of realizing that you're with child, it might decide that you want to put an end to that, or you might end up having a conversation that makes you feel like you are ready to move forward with that. So as of right now, it feels like you're in the in-between of having either of those decisions completely made, and that's fine, and that's kind of normal and maybe to be expected just based on like the circumstances surrounding the situation right now. So I would say just like keep an eye out, keep a lookout for how things can change and will change in the future. Don't stress yourself out too much to the point where you kind of like make yourself sick, because I can kind of feel like that. I can kind of see that kind of happening. Yeah, because like I feel like right now you're in the mindset, like most of what you're thinking about the situation is how do I secure myself and how do I make sure that I am still safe and still good. And how do I stay positioned the way that is most favorable for me. And that's normal. That's self-preservation kind of kicking in, but that feels like a lot of these cards that are coming out feel like are like prey animals, and you want to like keep yourself out of that feeling of fear as much as possible, because I don't feel like it's really super productive to you thinking clearly. Sorry. The Seer, the High Priestess. So patience here I think is important, because nothing really comes to the Seer easily or quickly. Excuse me. Wow. Nothing comes to the Seer quickly or easily. It comes with patience, and it comes through submission. So if you're thinking you have a lot of control right now, you probably really don't. And if you're feeling out of control right now, it's because you're probably not in control as much. Like this 10 of Cups, all this water that's kind of like moving into your life in the form of emotion, in the form of spiritual up-leveling, because in the reading before for Panini, I was talking about the winds of change. So you might even want to like look at that reading and listen to it, because even though I was talking to her more about career, there could be some similar elements there, because if you were to move forward with this pregnancy, like if you decide to keep this child and you want to like, you know, center your life around it, that might end up becoming your career. Like your career might like end up becoming mother in a way. Because a lot of these cards have like streams of water, and they are bigger than the other things, or they appear to me more powerful than the other things that surround it. And the Queen of Cups, which is like the fish that would be able to swim against the current, is in the reverse. So as much as you might want to resist some of the things that are kind of like unfolding in your life right now, I don't really see you being able to like outmaneuver, outrun some of this stuff. Like some of this stuff is kind of happening upon you. And instead of kind of like resenting that or resisting that so much in the current moment, now is a good time to kind of be still and kind of go with the flow. And this is a deck that like really emphasizes nature. And part of the reason why I chose it is because I feel like whatever's happening here is happening through like this some kind of force of nature. And nature, the force of nature would be stronger than anything that you would be able to completely resist, which is why I feel like the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups are here in the reverse. I feel like I get the impression that, like, you know, you mentioned like whatever protection you used like didn't work. And that's kind of being emphasized by the cards, is like this is something that's bigger than you. at least in the current moment. And although you can make some choices in the future, it's like you're not really being encouraged to make those hastily or out of fear, which is another reason why I'm kind of like emphasizing like, hey, like take your time to feel however you feel. Take your time to kind of see what opportunities might be available, right? Because you might be thinking like, I think I read in your email that you were thinking that you weren't going to move forward, like even after you tell this person that you're going to probably decide to make a decision to kind of put an end to this. And that's totally cool, but just wait until you've probably had that conversation before you really cement yourself in a position, because I feel like there could still be possibilities that you might want to remain available for. Because you might not, part of the reason why you might have hesitation is because you're not confident in the union that you're currently in with this person, which is why the Two of Cups is in the reverse, but then it's being clarified by the Ten of Cups, which makes me feel like, you know, like you might be thinking like, this is too much water for the container that I have in my hand. Like you're probably thinking like, I haven't known this person long enough, we don't have enough or something like that. Like it's just, you're thinking that this situation would overwhelm your dynamic, and that could be true, but I would say wait until you know for sure that that's true to take any kind of like drastic action. Okay. I was trying to like not talk about that immediately because I wanted to just do like what's going on with Sky, but that seemed to be the first thing that came out. It like immediately went to that situation, so I'll talk about that first, I guess. We'll talk a little bit now about how this person might respond and try to foreshadow that a little bit for you, so you're not kind of like walking into it blind. All of a sudden my nose is like kind of running and I sneezed like twice. I don't even know how to interpret that, but it wasn't happening before I started this live. So, okay. This is the first deck I ever used to read cards with. I feel like I mention that every time I use it, but it just kind of is an important deck for me, and it's called the Fountain, and this Ten of Cups has like this kind of fountain energy on it. And also this Queen of Cups. Like just the energy of an overpouring of water, overflowing of water, which traditionally I would interpret as a good thing. And I'm not feeling especially called to think anything negative of the situation that I'm picking up on, like that I'm reading for right now. Like the Devil's here in the reverse, so like the desire to label it as like a negative thing or to feel fearful of it is like understandable, but in the reverse it makes me feel like, you know, this is not a devilish situation. It's more just like a concrete situation, or it's a situation that isn't permanent yet but could be permanent in the future. Like the Devil here is, I think I'm just leaning more into the whole Saturn aspect of it, where, you know, the choices that you're making right now do matter and will impact the long term of whatever karmic cycle related to Saturn there might be going on in your life, or Pisces with the Hangman here. And I think that, like, the last time we had, like, personal conversation, you were talking about how, you know, you had some kind of, like, Aquarius aspect going on, and you were, like, feeling kind of foggy in your head, and you were like, well, this is, like, the beginning of a cycle, a transit that just, like, kind of started in my chart. So this, you know, you might be feeling like, oh my gosh, this is a mistake, or like, oh my gosh, this shouldn't be happening. But I don't know that it should not be happening. The Ten of Cups is happening, we're here again. I don't know that it shouldn't be happening, honestly. The cards aren't like saying mistake or like wrong choice. Because I feel like you probably already know you did everything by the book, or you were operating with some amount of protection, or you were being as careful as you could have been, or something like that. So how will your person kind of respond to this news? The Lover's in reverse on top of that. The Queen of Cups in reverse again. Seven of Swords. It feels like they kind of like maybe immediately go into like planning. I don't want to take all 4 of those, but let me just see what they are. Temperance in the reverse, 9 of Wands in reverse, Page of Wands upright, and the 10 of Coins in reverse. Yeah, like I feel like they immediately kind of go into like thinking mode, and I don't think they make this your problem. Like I don't see this person stressing out to you. But there's Aquarius again with the star. Why is the 4 of Swords? The Fountain again. Dude. The Tower, Queen of Swords in reverse. We had the King of Swords before. 8 of Coins in reverse. And the Page of Cups in reverse. So we do have a King of Swords and a Queen of Swords. They're not both upright though. So I wonder like which one of you might have initiated a no contact situation. I don't really know as of right now. I can look into that more in the future, but I think that one of the main concerns is like, are we on the same accord? Are we on the same page? Are we on the same level? Can we work together? Is it a good idea to work together? And all that like really kind of needs to be talked about, which I think you already know. Like this isn't, you won't know the answer to those questions until you're like really open and honest with each other about what the circumstances that you individually have are. Which is part of the reason why I feel like you might have fear, is because you might not know what the other person has to offer to you in this position of what you would probably consider to be need, because you would want to feel supported and kind of centered in this person's life, I think, if you were to move forward with this pregnancy. And you know, this person might surprise you with how much they have or how much they're willing to give to you, but they kind of need the opportunity to be aware, and they also, I feel like, need the opportunity to speak to you. I feel like you might, just in general, you'll know for sure probably which way you're gonna go after you have this conversation with them. Because if you have this conversation and they're like, I don't really want the kid, then you'll know, okay, we're not gonna do this. And if you have this conversation and they're like, okay, well, let's figure something out, then you might start to be able to relax more within yourself. Either way, though, I feel like your guides would encourage you to not jump into an energy of anxiety, because I feel like that's where you could be right now with this Lovers in the reverse, because that's Gemini energy, and it just feels like a little bit frantic internally. And that's being clarified by the Fountain. So it's like, you don't want to manifest from that frantic internal place. I feel like anything that you would manifest from that frantic internal place would kind of come out disjointed. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind. You're still in a position right now where options are available, no matter what you end up kind of what conclusion you end up coming to. So you're not stuck. I feel like you might be having the feeling right now of like, I'm stuck. Like I'm in a situation or like in a position right now that I'm not happy with and I'm not comfortable with, and I kind of want to escape it. And so your mind right now could be like inclined towards finding escape routes. But I don't know that that's like really the next step for you. It could be an eventual step, but the mindset right now I don't think should be centered around escaping. It should probably be more towards coming into this reunion with this person and like kind of just like meeting of minds, seeing what the situation really is in a more holistic kind of sense. We have the Ancestor at the, I didn't even notice that before. We have the Ancestor at the bottom of this deck, but it's in the reverse. And the 4 of Wands, Celebration, and the Moon in reverse. Okay. I feel like I even just did that part of the reading really fast. Like, I don't know if you've been like pulling cards for yourself recently. Like if you've been like restless and anxious, And I'm not like really asking because I'm at the point now where I'm not even like really looking at the screen, so you could even be saying stuff and I'm not even like hearing it or like available to hear it. Because I'm trying to focus on what this is and what it's trying to tell me, and I'm afraid that I'm missing something. Because I feel like I did that really fast, and normally I am slower. So what's like another thing that's real about how this person might respond is that they might need time to process what's going on, because this could be coming as a shock to them. And for you as well, which is why it's important that you are doing your part to not contribute to any feeling of overwhelm. Because I don't even know how you guys ended. I think that might help me, actually. I might need to pull some cards about your actual relationship with that person, because that could kind of fill some of these gaps in for me. Like, I don't know how things ended or what caused things to end, and I feel like that would help me understand clearly like what's going on here. So let me do that next, actually. I keep sniffling. Okay. I would say like release your need to control this person and how they respond, because that gets you probably the best outcome. Like, let them do the things that they want to do. Let them have the response that they want to have. And then try to just accept wherever those cards are falling. Okay. What was going on with that relationship in the recent past? I kind of feel like maybe you left this person. I don't know if you were ever fully invested, which is a thing that's coming out here. Like, even before I pull cards, like just from what I'm seeing when I'm displaying the deck. Like, this person might have been meant to just kind of be like a rebound. Okay, what's going on? What was happening in that relationship in the recent past? Two of Cups. Judgment. Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. The Lovers, again, in the reverse. And the Three of Swords. Yeah, to me, this kind of gives more, like, rebound energy. So, like, when this, like, kind of ceased, like, you might not have even, like, really cared that much. Regardless of who initiated that, like, I feel like you probably, if it wasn't for this child situation, you might not even have any desire to maintain an attachment. The Fool. Ten of Wands. Yeah. So that makes more sense why you probably feel stuck. I feel like if you bring this person's attention, like, they would feel responsible. Or need to become more responsible. Like, this person might really... Well, hold on. I think they would be overwhelmed, but they honestly, I feel like they might even prioritize this situation, this developing situation, over other things going on in their life. Like, I think you mentioned this person was like in school. Like, this might even be somebody who would consider like leaving their work, or like if they needed to make more money, I feel like they would probably do that. But it would stress them out, and they would feel like they're sacrificing like everything. So that's something that they kind of like keep in mind. Like, if when you tell this person that you're pregnant and they're like, okay, well, I'll step up, that might prelude to them kind of taking a fall in some other ways. Like, they would might have to sacrifice some of the things that they were working towards personally in order to be attentive to you. But I do feel like this person would want to be attentive to you because they would feel responsible. Um, but I don't even know if this is something that you would want to choose, or like that you would even really want. So it kind of seems like maybe you're already headed towards the door when it comes to this situation. Um, like when it comes to this person and like the possibility that exists in between you, it kind of feels like in some way internally you might have already decided that you want to kind of abort mission here. Because I don't know that you would really be super happy with this person. Because again, like energetically, it kind of feels more like rebound than it does like I love this person and I want to start a life with them. Why is the Two of Cups here? Five of Swords in the reverse. Like, although you have a level of chemistry, there is a superiority here. So like one of you, and I think it's you, has less of an emotional attachment. Because with it being clarified by Justice, it's like you're mentally kind of elsewhere. Or your attention would remain elsewhere. Like you would move forward in this connection and still be kind of thinking about another one. And that probably was just not the kind of, you know, pregnancy journey or like process that you were really like hoping for. Nor like the beginning of like maybe a marriage, because I feel like this, like if you were to keep this and like, you know, move forward as like a relationship with this person, like you probably would end up marrying them or like unifying with them in a more concrete way, because like that's what would happen like when you kind of birth a child. Like you would then, even if you never got married to that person or like you never um you know, moved in together, like you would still be kind of bonded in a more concrete way. And ultimately, I just don't think that it's what you want, even though that is the direction that you're currently headed in. So it seems like you have some decisions to make about, because Libra's here twice. Like you have choices to make about which path you're gonna take as it relates to this. But I do feel like the person that you're dealing with would, their attention would turn to you if you chose this direction. Like if you wanted to move forward, I feel like they would follow you. But almost kind of like a dog on this full card. Like this is how it looks on the table, like, or the bed. the the full person would come and move and like, pay attention to you. And they would kind of like almost like give you their life, like just start their life like with you. Because this person is kind of like young and maybe like a little bit naive, and maybe can't even really tell that you're a little bit upside down here in this energy, like that you're like you are the Queen of Cups, but you're maybe not like focused on them or like looking at them or whatever. So yeah. What else? Why is the Ten of Wands here? Ten of Cups in the reverse, Ace of Cups. So like yeah, like it feels like you manifested this, but then it's like you also don't want it at the same time. Which I feel like could be ultimately what your guides are kind of wanting to bring to your attention. Is like what do you really want? Which makes me think of that movie, The Notebook. Like when the dude's like, what do you want? And she's like, it's not that easy. Like, in some kind of way, it could kind of feel like you've complicated your life in a way that it didn't need to be complicated. And you could be having thoughts about that as well. It's like, what did I get myself into? Or like, what am I doing here? And I feel like that would be like a mirrored energy, because this Two of Cups is not only like, oh, we have chemistry, but it's also like, okay, we're kind of in a similar place spiritually. So I feel like if that's how you're feeling, they would also feel that way as well. But I just think that they probably would have some kind of they would feel kind of responsible to you in some kind of way, but and that they would like kind of move forward in a way that respects that responsibility. But once again, it kind of feels like a puppy, and you being like maybe worshipped, or like I don't know how to say that, but it's like you're the queen up here with the baby that's growing inside of you, and then they're like, okay, well, how do I perform the way that, because it kind of feels like mommy issues. Like this person might have been attracted to you in some way related to their mommy issues, and so they would like want to please you and like cater to you, and then you up on your platform like kind of just be like, well, I don't even really like you, or like, you know, this isn't really what I wanted. So then nothing that they would really do would like really fully please you probably, and that would kind of like cement a dynamic that's kind of maybe a little bit imbalanced. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm trying to shit on this, because I'm really not. I'm just trying to show you what I see, and then that way it might help you make some decisions in the future. Because before I was like, okay, well, don't like emergency eject based in fear. But now I can kind of see why you might have already been thinking about escaping, and that's not so much based in like fear. It's more so like self-understanding and understanding of the dynamic. Because if you already know that you don't really like, you wouldn't choose this person, or like this isn't the person that you wanted to choose, then it kind of makes sense why you would start to feel stuck in this position and want to like find a way out of it, to avoid like what would be a future pain, or like a future hurt, or like a long-term pain, or like a long-term hurt. Because to stay here, or like stay in this position, knowing that this isn't the person that you kind of really want to be with, would be like 10 of Wands, or like, you know, I'm carrying this burden. Like literally I have the responsibility of growing this child for 9 months, and then after that it's 18 years, and that's just before we don't have to like co-parent like as much. So yeah, that makes sense to me more now. Okay, so I mean, fuck. What else do I even say? Let me use this Moonology deck. Okay, yeah, immediately you have cut your losses. Moon in detriment. Drawing down the moon, knowledge. I mean, if you are already kind of knowing that you don't want this, do you even really need to tell this person about this? I mean, these are some questions that you might want to ask yourself. I mean, if you feel like you want to involve this person, then sure. But I don't know. What is some advice coming through for Sky right now as it relates to that situation? Yeah, cut your losses came out again on top. Cut your losses, take the lead. Moon cycles, patience in the reverse. Accept responsibility in the reverse. There's somebody parked. Okay, they went away. Accept help coming out underneath. Cut your losses. Why is take the lead here? Protection, ring around the moon, Saturn again vibes. Do nothing in the reverse. And full moon forgiveness. Day moon love at the bottom of the deck. So yeah, don't make the choice out of fear. Make the choice out of love for yourself and then also compassion for the other person. It kind of feels like, and once again, I'm not trying to say anything offensive, more so just give like really objective, really blunt advice, which I feel like most people are booking with me for that anyways. It kind of feels like the advice could be to just cut your losses, understand what's likely to happen if you move forward in any direction, which means taking time to like really think those things through. I'm not like wanting to tell you what to do regardless, but if you were feeling like there was a disjoint in your relationship because of an attachment to the past and you don't want to be attached to the past anymore, like whatever that confusion or like, because I kind of feel like there could have been two people existing in your mind, and that could have contributed to some of the imbalance that might have existed in the past that might have led to the no conflict situation. If you're wanting to move forward with this new relationship and this new like project, which is a baby, which is a pregnancy, you definitely have to like leave that past thing behind, and then be willing to cooperate and co-parent with this person. But you're doing that understanding not only what you're sacrificing but also what they're sacrificing, which means you need to have a conversation with them and be like really open and honest about what that is for both of you. And then maybe even like, because you are kind of the leader of this dynamic in certain ways, because not only are you older, but then this person has like this maybe natural desire to kind of please you. You kind of have to let it be known what it is that you want, which is part of the reason why your guys were kind of like relax, don't be so anxious, and kind of like figure out what it is that's going on within you, so that you can let this person know what it is that you want. I feel like regardless of whatever that thing is, you're protected in having it. Whether that means you want to terminate this pregnancy or you want to maintain this pregnancy, I think you're protected in having whatever direction you want to go in. And like once again, like right now you're in the position to kind of make this choice kind of freely, so you're encouraged to kind of take advantage of your current position as of right now, to think about what it is really thoroughly that you want, so that you're not existing in an energy of regret about that later. With patience here in the reverse and do nothing in the reverse, I feel like you guys are kind of wanting to bring to your attention like that you might struggle with having patience for yourself, or for the cycles of life that you're going through. Like having too much stillness, too much free time could be something that like makes you overthink things, or there could be an issue or a struggle with gratitude for the current moment or current circumstances. Like you might be someone who's really result oriented, or someone who feels they need to have control over what's going on in their life in order to feel comfortable with what's going on in their life. And so this is a situation that's kind of like coming in and making you feel out of control, in a way that really can't like be circumvented easily or without like thought. And so you're kind of maybe even being forced to like sit still a little bit and be thoughtful before making a choice. With accept responsibility, it feels like, you know, like you might have done everything that you thought that you could do to kind of secure your outcome. So there is a need to kind of forgive yourself if you are kind of frustrated with your position of stuckness, because once again, like it doesn't seem like it's a permanent stuckness unless you choose that for yourself. And also, if you did everything that you could have done, then what else could you have done? So yeah, I feel like this could be like, you know, if with all that like overflow of the water and like the fountain energy, like, this could be something that feels like really overwhelming for you. And that would make sense because it feels like there could be like a lot on the line, like not just for right now, but like the next 20 years of your life, like a lot kind of depends on the choices that you're making right now. So I have empathy for this for sure, and just would want to encourage you to think thoroughly and thoughtfully about how you're communicating, not only just when you're communicating and like that you want to communicate, but also how you're communicating and what you're saying and what your intentions are, in using maybe even specific language. Like, yeah. Okay, more about this other person, because I kind of want to go back to them for some reason. Let me see. What does Sky need to know about the person that she's in no contact with right now? As it relates to, like, you know, partnering up with them for the long term. You might feel like they don't have enough. What does Sky need to know about the person that... Okay, yeah, Lovers in the reverse again. Six of Wands in the reverse. Death. Nine of Wands in the reverse. So there could be like not so much actually wrong with them and them just like kind of not being what you want at the same time. Like, I feel like you're still kind of fixated with the Four of Coins clarifying the Lovers on maybe like a past soulmate. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. You could also feel like they don't have enough like money or enough to offer you, and so maybe you could be worried about like going without certain things that you might have wanted for yourself. The Star in the reverse and the Five of Pentacles in reverse. Seven of Swords. Six of Cups at the bottom of the deck and the Page of Swords. And you also might not like that they are younger than you. So yeah, I think when it comes to like this person specifically, you've just kind of identified them as somebody that you're not really all that interested in. And you may have been kind of attracted to them in a more temporary kind of way, with Death being clarified by the stars, or the star. Like, I'm thinking about how like you can really only see the stars at night, and when it's nighttime, oh man, my phone's gonna die. When it's nighttime, it's dark outside. You know, like it's like when the sun comes out, when clarity comes out, when the light comes out, you don't really have this attraction in the same way that you did in the beginning or when you first saw this person. My phone's gonna die. I have 20%. Yeah. So this feels like a success in the moment, and then not so much of a success too far beyond that. Okay, and let's see, like, because I feel like there's a curiosity on your end about Axel, so I'll just look into it. But let me get a drink of this first. So clear the deck, please. And we're gonna shift a little bit to Axel. So, what's going on with him? We have the Hermit, Queen of Swords in reverse. Strength, the World, the Hierophant, Knight of Swords in the reverse, Temperance in the reverse. Alright. Sorry, my dog is just licking himself in my bed, and he knows I don't like when he does that. Thank you. Six of Wands in the reverse. Four of Cups in the reverse. And the Magician. So I think he's just like, honestly, probably alone, which is not unlike him. I think he's probably alone, focusing on himself. A lot of these cards are people who are by themselves. He seems to be positioned decently though, because the world is here and it's like a person sitting on top of the world. So I feel like there probably in your mind is a lot of comparison to Axel whenever you're like assessing both of these people. I think for you, Axel is probably a bit of a blueprint person in your life. And I think part of the reason why you're a little bit discontent with this person, this new person, is probably because you don't necessarily enjoy the comparison between Axel and him. Like, you might feel like Axel's more accomplished in the material world, has more like sovereignty over his life, or something like that. But I feel like Axel right now is in a similar energy to this other person, where both of them are probably focused on creating more material security, more material abundance for themselves. Specifically, I feel like Axel's probably manifesting primarily as it relates to his work and towards his career, because the Magician's clarifying the Hierophant. So he could be like maybe about to get a new job, or about to like undertake some kind of new work or new journey as it relates to becoming more marketable at work. He's not like super successful yet, but it's like this like harnessing of personal energy. Yeah. What else about that? If you haven't been talking to him, like if you've been gone or like off the scene, you could have been thinking about you, like where are you? Like, because I feel like your absence could be felt, but it's also not something that would derail this person from their focus on themselves currently. I don't think this, like, he would know that you were pregnant, or that you, like, if you haven't told this person, like, Axel, about your new relationship, like, I don't feel like he would be privy to all that. So, yeah, there's that. Sorry, it's like distracting me. Look. Okay. But yeah, I feel like this person, Axel, would still be like kind of considering you like kind of fondly, like, you know, like you're a friend. Even if you guys are like long lost friends right now. Like, they would still have like fond emotions towards you. Okay. So, like, I mentioned the whole, like, oh, well, I don't know if I want to, like, well, your perspective being, like, I don't know if I want to, like, start a new life with this person because they're not him. How do your guys feel about that? Two of Cups. Like, the Two of Cups keeps coming out. It's like the third time. My neighbor is walking towards his house right now. He's wearing a hoodie. Just like me. Like, what do your guys want you to know about how life would be if you did start a new life with this new person? Two of Cups again. So I'm getting like this vibe, like it just really all depends on what you actually want. Which is why I keep hearing that, like, the Notebook quoting, like, what do you want? What do you want? Because like I mentioned before, the good thing about this younger person with the mommy issues is, you know, this is like someone who would be easier to control. Like, if you feel like you want to have control, you need to have control in a relationship, that person will probably be easier to control. Because they have a desire to please you. But they're also not as developed, which is something that I feel like you also would not like about them. So it's kind of like, you know, let me just pull the cards. Temperance in the reverse. A Hermit. Seven of Cups in reverse. Death. The Empress. Page of Cups in the reverse. Ten of Wands. The Chariot. Fool in the reverse. Yeah, I don't know that you would really be happy with this person, honestly. Based on how it looks, I don't know that you really would be happy. But then again, the question that kind of feel like it's coming through for you from, like, your own shadow here, because most of these cards are kind of like dark, is like, where would you be happy? Because if you weren't happy there and you're also not happy there, then, like, where are you happy? And is the happiness something that you are really going to be able to find outside of yourself, or is it something that you kind of have to give to yourself internally with the Page of Cups here in the reverse? Because it kind of feels like some of this stuff that has come into existence in your life currently is like a result of manifesting from, like, an internal imbalance. So it kind of feels like what's most important for you right now is doing whatever shadow work is required to fix that internal imbalance. So how is that done? How does Sky help herself? How does Sky help herself? Two of Cups. Again. Which made me feel like it's not even about a relationship, because I'm asking about how do you help yourself when the Two of Cups comes out. It's not about anyone else right now. it's about you, and not in like a what do I want kind of way, but like what do I really need kind of way. Ten of Wands. The Magician in the reverse. Page of Cups in the reverse. Page of Cups in the reverse came out twice, which I was talking before about how it was like a self-soothing kind of a thing. Like, there also could be a possibility where you single mom, and that this child teaches you something about yourself, or like something like that. But I don't know. I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't have pegged you for like a single mom kind of gal. Yeah, I feel like that's something that you probably wouldn't want. Cat, can you get out of the way? Yeah, I don't know if that's really what you would probably choose, but there is also that possibility. The Lovers in the reverse. Yeah, there could have been like an overemphasis on relationships that kind of contributed to some kind of imbalance as well. Because the Lovers is now coming out to clarify the Two of Cups, but the Lovers is in the reverse. Then you have the Ten of Swords clarifying the Ten of Wands. Or like a residual pain from something that happened in the past. Nine of Cups in the reverse. Ace of Cups in the reverse. This feels like, I don't know. I don't want to tell you like what to do at all, because it's not my life. But I think if this was me, I probably would just go ahead and terminate, honestly. And then I would just probably go like hermit mode for like a brick of time to figure out like what's going on, like what do I need, like how do I prevent myself from feeling stuck, and how do I feel fulfilled without anyone being around to fulfill me, and where do I put my hope, like where am I putting my hope, and does where I'm putting my hope serve me for the long term? Who is responsible for making me happy? And what do I do when I don't feel happy? How do I respond to not getting what I want? How do I respond to not feeling in control? What can I do to avoid feeling overwhelmed by disappointment or lack, perceived lack? Because this feels like, with the Fool in the reverse, it kind of feels like this is a manifestation of something that's going on within you. And like the Moon in the reverse, like whatever emotional imbalances kind of are existing there. And when I say that, I'm not trying to demonize you in any kind of way. Because I don't feel like you're the first or only person who's ever been in this position. So, like, it is what it is. But I don't know, like, if anybody outside of you can really, like, or should be allowed to make you feel like this is a good or a bad idea. And this is more about like what you want for the next couple, like next like 2 decades of your life, and how you want that to look, and how happy you kind of foresee yourself being cemented in your current position, um, and whether or not you believe that there are better or other possibilities that exist elsewhere. So I feel like a lot of the choices that you've made in the recent past are like related to whether or not you think that there is better elsewhere. So like, do I hold or do I fold? So if this is a manifestation that just results from you holding too long or folding too easily, then there's some questions you got to ask yourself about when do you feel like it's time to fold and when do you feel like it's time to hold. And it's not like so much about like what's good or bad or what's right or wrong. It's more about like how do you want your life to look? Where do you see yourself going? Okay. Jeez. Hate to be a Debbie Downer. Let me see what else I can tell you. I think. What should be your next steps? What are Sky's next steps? Can you be super clear? Queen of Cups in the reverse and the Knight of Swords Hawk. I think you're gonna terminate it based on this. And then I think you're gonna be reacquainted with your inner child. You're probably gonna have to do a lot of shadow work or deeper thinking. You'll probably be guided into a little bit of isolation. Thinking is a big deal over the maybe next few months for you because I feel like you're gonna be kind of led to think about a lot. Shadow Cat is here. So you might honestly like have a bit of a depression, but like that's not to be avoided because it feels like whatever that depression is, it's kind of related to whatever choices you're having to make to get unstuck. So the sacrifice for getting unstuck kind of feels like maybe your internal world kind of getting a little bit darker. But it's okay, like, right? Because like the card that represents healing in the deck of tarot is the star. You see that when it's dark outside. So like you really only usually are initiated into this kind of like self-progression and spiritual development through transmuting darkness that exists within you. Yeah. Eight of Cups. She's like right in the way. Seven of Pentacles, healing. So, whatever you might have been avoiding in terms of internal healing will be kind of impossible to avoid at this point. Queen of Wands in the reverse again, which is like one of the first cards we got for you. With the Ace of Wands, Spark of Life at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, I feel like you kind of might, and my phone's on 10%, and then somebody just honked their horn outside. Yeah, I like reposition myself so I can press this button. My phone's gonna die soon, so it won't be too much longer. Like you might start to kind of like become reclusive, and that actually would match the Hermit that we pulled in the Strength card that I pulled for Axel earlier. Not that like you should be super concerned with him, but just it's coming to my mind, so I'm like mentioning it. I kind of feel like you might be initiated into that more like insulated, protecting myself from everything that isn't me, focusing on how I can secure my own future without the interference from external variables. Because that was the energy I was picking up from him, is where he's like, I don't want any external variables. I don't want anything from the outside to get in the way of what I'm cooking up on the inside. And I feel like you might be like aligning with that same kind of mentality once you unstuck yourself. Because you're gonna like maybe probably, yeah, start to realize how easy it could be to get stuck, and you're gonna not want to get stuck again. Which I hate to say like traumatizes you in some kind of way, but it might. Like the situation might like either now or later kind of feel like it traumatized you. Yeah, because if you don't, then like if you don't unstuck yourself, then you're starting a new cycle, and like that's where you're at for like the next 20 years. And ultimately, Eight of Cups is like usually like walking away. Like, I don't think that's really what you want to do. So because you're choosing to not start this cycle, you have to start, and you're not starting this external cycle with this new life. You have to start an internal cycle regarding new life, which means that there's probably some things that your guides are going to want to highlight to you about yourself that need to be changed and revisited, so you can be made aware of them, so that you don't repeat the cycles over and over again. Like through this experience, you're gonna be like, okay, well, I'm definitely not gonna want to get pregnant by like a situation, or I'm not gonna want to feel stuck again, and I'm not gonna want to do anything that could get me back into this spot because I really was not comfortable in this spot. And that, I think, is some kind of like epiphany moment for you, or some kind of like moment of realization that just makes it seem more serious to you. And then you really will then intrinsically not want to avoid whatever healing needed your attention. Which does kind of feel like it puts you into a position of like more stillness, and it makes you more insulated, like I mentioned before. Like you're not really going to be seeking whatever you were seeking from outside of yourself. You're going to be like more inclined to give that to yourself, and more satisfied by giving it to yourself, because the risk of getting it from outside, you already understand you don't want to take. So yeah. Is there anything else? I don't really think so. Let me just close it with this one. What is the closing guidance for Sky as it relates to the situation that she's currently dealing with? We have watch for signs and forgiveness. It's important to forgive yourself for whatever choices you're going to be making for yourself in the near future. Take the lead is coming out again, or I see it again in this. Moon magic transformation. Stay in integrity, moon shining. And release blocks. So yeah, like with stay in integrity, like the main thing I'm getting from that is like you don't have to feel shame for not wanting to move forward with this. Like it's not a big deal. Well, not a big deal, but it's just like you don't have to feel shame for realizing that you don't want to keep going. If you recognize that this is going to block you in some kind of way or be an obstacle in your path, you can call it quits here and like go through the whatever shadow work is necessary to be in a better position the next time you want to try again. With transformation, like leading this, it's like it's not going to be easy to make whatever those shifts are, but you shouldn't avoid making whatever those shifts are. Like there's gonna probably be some personal pain attached to whatever choice you end up making, but as long as you're making that choice not out of fear, more out of love for yourself and for the situation and for others that are involved in the situation, you're fine. And you just kind of have to let the situation be resolved, even if that comes at a cost to yourself, even if that means kind of admitting where you were wrong or where you feel regretful or where you feel sorrowful about the situation. Because avoiding whatever those emotions are, I don't feel like it's super productive towards you fully being transformed by whatever's happening here. So yeah, I hope that helped you and gave you some clarity. My phone's literally about to die, so I can't do too much more. But thank you for trusting me, and I hope that helped. So